Hello. Yeah, another Eliza Labs Builder demo session. Today we have three teams who are going to demo and introduce a bit around their project. And we're going to discuss how we're thinking, well, how not we, but how the teams are thinking about 8004, standard for trustless agents. And we have Aisha and Marco with us to join the conversation. Rough schedule or agenda is we'll have 10 minutes to present a demo and time for Q&A. And then the next team will jump in, and we'll keep it informal. If you have questions, pop it in the chat. If you, maybe if you want to dive into something specific around what the team's presented, do share. Don't be shy, and we'll have a little bit of fun in between. So yeah, just whilst we let people in, Marco, what is the latest with the EIP? I know you've been very busy and hands-on with organizing and coordinating with dozens of people. So yeah, curious, like what is the state of play?
Thank you for the invitation. Well, things are going very fast. 20 days ago, we released the spec. 10 days ago, we released the reference implementation of the smart contract. And now the next phase is really making all this super simple for developers. So we are 100% focused on developer tooling. And so in practice, I'm talking about like SDKs and docs that different groups are working on, and we hope to ship soon. And that's very important because if we want agents to become discoverable, we need to make this very easy. So I would say that a successful ERC is a ERC nobody remembers about. So we don't want developers to understand what's in the ERC. And so having like a very easy one-line registration is super important. And also in this context, indexers are very important, because as always with decentralization, the good thing is that it's permissionless and you don't rely on a centralized party. But the other concern is that when you want to create like very user-friendly front ends, you need to have a very efficient experience, and so indexers are great. And so next step is dev tooling, and I think that in 10 days max, the big news is that we will be in mainnet. That's the goal. 10 days ish. So, and we arrive around like November the 10th, and then lastly on November the 21, we will host this like big event, Dev Connect in Buenos Aires, where all the companies that are the co-signer of the ERC will also host the event. We will have many builders on stage, and we will start engaging people and involving them in the best way, which is like showing products. So pretty dense November, I would say.
And I guess December is going to be just as busy, right? Because you'll be going from, I guess, the drafting phase into production, and then things get quite interesting from there, right?
I'm like navigating life as I navigate. So I'm not. I guess yes, but I don't know yet what will happen in 1 month.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it's very interesting to see everything come to life. You know, from we've said this before, from Eliza Labs' perspective, we've been waiting for the infrastructure for this to kind of appear, and obviously when it comes to agents, them moving from what we're at is a responsive agent into a autonomous system that people can have acting whilst they're asleep, is kind of where things will go. And 8004, I'm sure, is going to play a pretty important role in underpinning that. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how it all flows and moves forwards. On that note as well, so just to recap on the session today, we have Kudo Network, BiomeAI, and okay.bet, which is we have a DeFi Agent 5 project, a DeSci, and a prediction market agent, all kind of introducing what they've been building. So a real variety there. And each team will present for 10 minutes-ish, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. So we can go off-piste and keep it informal and conversational, but that's just the rough structure and agenda. And Conan, yeah, I'll bring up your slides, and if you're ready, feel free to take it away.
Yeah.
Yeah? I'll be quiet.
You can see my screen, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kang, for the kind introduction and also for the opportunity. Very happy today to be here to present about Kudo and also do a short demo as well. what we're building here at Kudo is a purpose-built credit card for AI agents on the X402 payment rails. We are leveraging ELIZA OS as the agent framework and leveraging ERC-8004 as a credit reputation system for the agents. But before we start, let me actually do a quick introduction on myself and the team as well. My name is Conan. Before this, I have been building in DeFi for more than 4 years. And before that, I was in the TradFi/FinTech space. I have two teammates with me, Kogoro and Hiroshi. Kogoro has been building in DeFi alongside me, and before that, he was an engineer at Chainlink. And as for Hiroshi, he is an AI researcher at the University of Tokyo. As we know, the agentic economy is projected to be as large as $30 trillion by the year 2030, which is just a few years from now, right? And I think the last few weeks, we have witnessed a huge spike in payment volume on the X402 payment rails, which we believe will be the gold standard for how AI agents will be paying for the services that they use. However, currently, AI agents can only pay on X402 using crypto wallets that they pre-funded, right? While on the other hand, the fact is today, 80% of all internet services payments globally are made using credit card, not debit card and not any other prepaid payment methods, right? So we believe that it's crucial to enable credit card-like payments for AI agents on X402 in order to unlock some key benefits for AI agents, right? So I think first, obviously, first AI agents they do not have to maintain a pre-funded wallet, right? And this reduces the risk of downtime when the wallets are depleted. And so simply the AI agent just need to pay the bills as they have used the services for, right? So that's the first benefit. Secondly, this actually allows the possibility for chargebacks, which is actually a very common and popular feature in credit cards today. And that's also for a reason, right? The reality is some services that AI agents use inherently, as I'll demonstrate later, inherently, some of them have delayed delivery. And so with this method, with this scheme, AI agents can pay for services after it has been delivered and also have the chance to dispute payments in the case where the quality of the outcome are not meeting some certain standards, right? For example. And lastly, this is also an opportunity for merchants to do some kind of a loyalty program. They can retain, they can attract customers, which are AI agents, right? And with this, merchants can give preferential treatments, preferential rates for AI agents that have access to these credit cards, who are presumably falls under prime segments, or they are considered reputable, right? So those are the key benefits that we're thinking for this X402 credit card. Before we move to the demo, let me share a little bit of background on how we actually got here. We have been building from the beginning of this year. And first, we were building the foundational layer infrastructure, namely a platform for ELIZA agents to make verifiable on-chain promises. So ELIZA agents can mint what's called the covenant NFT, which states a promise that the AI agent is making. For example, a promise to repay a loan in the future, or a promise to execute certain actions in the future. And the agent's intention can actually be guaranteed that the agent will actually fulfill the promise with a combination of DE and some prompt engineering, right? And then a few weeks back, we started thinking about ERC-8004. Particularly, we believe that we can leverage this framework to form a universally recognized reputation system for agents. So when the agents fulfill their promise, they can improve their reputation on the reputation registry. And when the agent fails to do so, their reputation can be punished on the reputation registry as well. And now, given we have the technology puzzle pieces together, we are launching a X402 credit card for AI agents. And that's what we're gonna demo today. It's a very simple MVP. We put it together rather quickly because we literally just thought of this use case just a couple of days ago. But hopefully the demo can showcase not just our technology, but also the impact that it can bring.
Yeah.
With that, let me switch screen to the demo. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe to add, Conan, that if you the demo of the platform for the covalence is that's on the YouTube, the ELIZA OS YouTube, but that's already been existing. This is a build on from that platform, right?
Yes.
Is there anything you could add to your team and who's working on this and your backgrounds?
Sorry, can you repeat that, Kang?
Is there anything you could share around your team and your background if you're okay doing so?
We prefer to keep being anonymous, but the credentials that I shared just now, that's probably as far as we can comfortable be sharing at this point.
Cool. Do you need to switch screens for your demo, or can you?
Yeah.
Can you switch there? Yeah.
Let me do that now.
Did you see that there was an American Express card demo as well? I think it was American Express.
I saw a tweet from someone from American Express, I believe, but I haven't seen a demo.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't see anything on the product. Let me know when you're ready to bring it up.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an MCP server that we built just for the purpose of this demo. The main capability of this MCP server is to post a tweet. And this MCP server is actually gated by X402. The slight difference is that typically X402 accepts USDC or other tokens, but in this case, it is also accepting Kudo's covenant NFT of promise of future payments as a form of payments for this MCP server, right? And we have also created an agent. So in the future, this agent will be registered on ERC-8004 identity registry, just for everything to work. And we're gonna task this agent to post a tweet. And in the backend, what this agent will do is to use the MCP server's service and also pay the MCP server using the Kudo CNFT, right? So let me run that. So here, everything has been executed. Let me walk you through what happened on the backend. So here, the agent has minted an NFT for the MCP server. You can see the signature here. So this is a signature for a transaction where the agent minted the NFT for the MCP server, and it uses this signature as a submission for the X402 payment for the MCP server, right? And now if we go to our UI, we can actually see the NFT. Here we can see that the NFT is asking for a tweet, and the NFT is promising to pay 0.01 USDC after the tweet has been posted. So that is what the agent has promised to the MCP server, essentially. And we can see here that the tweet has been posted by the MCP server. And as promised, the AI agent has paid the MCP server the 0.01 USDC, just like what it has promised on the CNFT. So here you can see the transfer, right? So that means the agent has fulfilled what it has promised. And in the context of ERC-8004, we will update the reputation registry to improve the agent reputation because it has fulfilled the promise, right? And on top of that, we want to also do some work to integrate with the validation registry as well, because here we're actually validating that the payment has actually been made by the AI agent. And on top of that, the promise itself can be not just payments. I think in other Kudo demos, we demonstrated that the action on the promise can be anything, not just payment. So I think that can be a very interesting integration with the validation registry. Yeah, I think that concludes my demo for today. Happy to answer any questions as well.
Nice. Yeah, on the reputation registry, it's the only question I've got. I don't know if Marco or Aisha also has anything, but so that is just to replay it to you. So the agent there was sending an NFT, and it used X402 to fulfill it, and that transaction is then to be stored in the reputation registry. Is there anything specific? Is there anything specific there that is unique to Kudo Network's, let's say, activities that you will insert in that off-chain JSON? Or how are you thinking about that side of things as well?
So far, I think we're just thinking in two directions.
Mm-hmm.
So when the promise of the CNFT has been properly fulfilled, we are going to post something positive on the reputation registry. And the reverse, when the AI agent failed to fulfill the promise or does not meet the standard of what it has promised, then we'll post a negative review on the reputation registry. That is as far as we have think about it. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Marco or Aisha, do you have any questions at all? We've got nothing from the community or on Discord, or actually some comments here from YouTube.
The reputation signal is sent by who? By like your Watchtower as an independent issuer, or by the client?
Yeah. So we actually have an AI agent of our own. You can think about it like an in-house AI agent. We call it the evaluator agent. So the evaluator agent is supposed to be like a fair judge on whether this promise has been properly fulfilled or not. So we expect this agent to be the fair, unbiased entity that will post to the reputation registry. Yeah.
Okay, that's so in terms of trust assumption, you're assuming that everybody trusts your agent. Okay, and
Yes, maybe something that I can add as well to that. Not just we're using the ELIZA framework, but also we're deploying this to Fala Network on a TE server, so everyone can verify the code, including the prompts of this agent. So it's transparent in that sense.
Okay, that's super cool and solves I think also the validation problem. Because regarding validation, a question that I had is checking that you have paid is in a sense checking that the client did his job. Did you explore any way to validate also the role of the server? So in this case, for example, it's a tweet, and you could prove that you have tweeted also in other way, like ZK-TLS comes to my mind, but can we also somehow prove that the server did the job and not just the client by paying?
Yeah, definitely. It actually goes both ways. If we go back to that NFT, there were actually two components, right? The ask and also the promise. The evaluator agent actually validates both, not just the promise, but also the ask, right? So in the demo that I did just now, it validated that the tweet has been posted and the content of the tweet is according to what has been promised. So that's the one thing that it validates. The second thing that it validates is the payment, that the 0.01 USDC has been transferred, right? But yeah, I'm more than happy to explore other ways that are more efficient and more trustless, as you mentioned.
In this case, the validation of a tweet is done in the same way with the code in the T checking that,
Yes.
that the tweet. Yeah, it makes sense. Probably ZK-TLS is if you're running the code in a T, why there is no need to do that. You can just trust the T.
Yeah.
I think this may have just been covered, but there was a question beyond 8004. What on-chain controls are you providing for the AI, or is it just a trust assumption being made? I think you touched on ZK-TLS there.
Sorry, is that a question for me? Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah. So a question from someone on Twitter. So beyond 8004, what on-chain controls are you providing for the AI, or is it just a trust assumption being made? Like, I think you've just answered that with a T and perhaps looking at ZK-TLS, but yeah, anything else to add?
I think we try to always eliminate any trust assumption. As I mentioned before, even the evaluator agent that we use, we deploy that into a TE, and so everyone can confirm what are the prompts that we're using to set up that evaluator agent. And so I'm not saying there's no trust assumption, but I would say it's minimal, or as minimal as possible.
Nice. Well, Conan, look, thank you so much for sharing. Let's call that there. Yeah, I think watching your first demo for the Covalent platform would make sense for anyone who's curious around Kudo network as well. So that might help understand how the credit card function adds something to what you've already built. But yeah, thanks again for coming back and introducing what you've been up to. Ben, over to yourself. Okay.bet, so it's a prediction market app player, in short. I'll bring your screen up and yeah, feel free to take it away.
Yeah, how are you guys doing? My name's Ben. I hope you can hear me all right. Basically, what I'm building now is what I'm building with the help of Eliza and everything is basically ETFs for prediction markets. And for those that don't know what ETFs is, that'd be kind of analogous to the stock market. Instead of buying an individual stock like Tesla, you'd buy a wider range of baskets, like the whole S&P 500 or just an industry sector, that type of thing. And I haven't seen that too deep into prediction markets just because we're so new into that as a financial asset class. For a year, they've been around for years now, but it was much more smaller and just more like betting. But now, we're doing real things on it, like elections and wars and forecasts, and people with like real financial interests are able to hedge on them. The issue is that, it's pretty easy to buy one election, but if you want to bet on like an event to hedge, a financial interest, you could be directionally correct, that the event happens, but still wrong on the rules. It could be with a bad platform. It could be, it happened by this date, not that date, and you could end up losing everything. So basically, like by investing in trends, you can offset that risk a little bit. And it's not just, indexes. There's two other strategies you can do: autonomous trading, where basically, you invest into a strategy that's kind of deployed and set, predefined, or you could do fully interactively agentic. We deploy with an agent. It has its own wallet. And by talking to it and like doing different things and different A-to-A type services, we can extend that to being, purchasing positions on a prediction market, based on the feedback. So basically, I'm at a proof of concept level demo. It's not fully functional, and we're getting the productization up and all the pieces together. But here on the front page is just kind of like an example. So like an index you would be able to buy into is like nothing ever happens, right? I mean, we're all familiar with that. Basically just betting no to like a bunch of different world events. And like you can also buy like one by one each of these, or you can invest fully and go into that type of share. And then because this is all the agents are on like Eliza OS, I've also hooked them up to Telegram bots. I think the bots are down right now. But you'd be able to message them and kind of get information on their positions and their portfolios and that type of stuff. To kind of dig deeper, we have a kind of groups would be like just specifically indexing, and that would be you selecting the markets to add, and kind of deploy that index along with the smart contract and the agent. And basically the agent you could think of as kind of the execution. The smart contract is kind of like the terms of like the vault, the 8004 registry of being discovered, and basically the index, it could be human managed by a reputable third party, or it could be like agentically managed down the road, and that would be something that you would update as time goes on and these trends continue. We also have the funds here. So when you deploy the fund, like you would also deploy it with the agent. So like this would be like an automated strategy, and you would have like all these types of settings here of like how much you want to raise, for how long, and kind of at this point very early because we recognize the tech is changing very fast. It basically like these agents are expected to be short term. We're like, okay, we're gonna set this fund up for 3 months, 6 months, maybe up to a year, and we'll capture like these types of risks. It could be like this type of election, or we're going to try this trading strategy, and then from there, give people the option to roll over into more. And that's kind of generally where we're at. Just kind of like the front end type demo. Yeah, I guess a little bit quicker, but love to talk and make it interactive. But I'd love to talk more.
So just to replay, so people can buy into the ETF funds and automate the strategy or choose what strategy they have for various different prediction market plays, right? That's
exactly, yeah. You could think of it as passively invest into prediction markets instead of right now it's kind of 0 to 1 by nature of like you buying a position and it either basically doubles or it resolves to $1, or it goes to nothing.
Yeah, and then you're looking for people to come in and build, let's say, products, or kind of have creators come in and set up their own prediction market strategy and attract other people into the platform, correct?
Yeah, totally. So if you have a strategy you want to try, like there's a template one I have of just like, hey, like we think that when the odds are very high, like 95, 98%, it's actually much higher. It's just people don't want to bet that. So you can have a strategy that goes in there and kind of invest into those. I mean, there's any way you could think of, but you'd be able to deploy that type of strategy like on Eliza OS. And we use Fallow as well, and all that type of protection as well. So you can deploy the strategy, and it's up to you whether you open source and reveal that type of part of it.
I'm just thinking from a like a trust and reputation perspective, the interaction is really agent to human, and
at first, yeah. I kind of see the 8004 right now as almost like discovery of like eventually like I see trading as between agents as we go down the road, and I think like replacing the whole front end with agent to agent type interactions is going to be key. But basically like for this first one, like my agent is not likely going to go out and solicit other agents. It'll be kind of an endpoint in this node of like other agents interact with it to either buy into it, to query it, that type of thing.
So almost like an agent could scan or kind of try and find certain ETF products that they could invest in for short-term wins, and that's
exactly. Or it could see what's inside and saying like, okay, this is priced wrong compared to this, so I would rather go out that way. So like query like what it's holding, invest if it wants to, that type of thing. Monitor performance.
Where are you?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, where are you at on your roadmap? Where I know you've been building this since the start of this year. Is that correct-ish? And maybe slowly.
So this particular one, I think started probably a couple months ago in the summer. The idea has been kicking around. Now it's basically like much more on the business side of like the business case and like going into like seeing if there's ability to go into raise, because then it's going to be like smart contract auditing, and then like really deploying it.
Okay.
But basically, like we have all the pieces. Like it is technically doable, but now it's just the execution.
Right. Interesting. Marco, do you have any questions on 8004 perspectives here?
Well, first of all, it's super cool. I really like the idea of like creating like custom baskets and with passive strategies with prediction markets. One question, which is not like strictly 8004 related, is if you can like explain better what's the trust model. So what part of your code needs to be trusted, what parts of your agents needs to be trusted. And the other question related to 8004, actually, this one is related to reputation and validation. So I understand that you're thinking about discovery, but if you have thought about any kind of feedback-related dynamic, like, for example, third parties or Watchtower, like giving feedback on the performance of the different strategies to inform others to decide which strategy to pick.
Yeah, so great input. Basically, how it goes is like a user or whatever, a client, an investor would invest into the smart contract and get it equivalent share token. That the funds get sent to the agent wallet, and this agent is what's deployed on the T, and this is what needs to be trusted, and this is what really needs a good reputation. And then whether you tell it to like buy whatever or make an index, like it's going to have to go in these prediction markets, which are very dynamic and changing, and try to actually execute those orders. And there's a lot of times that it might not be able to, right? Like you may tell it to buy something that's already resolved or buy something with no liquidity, and it needs to make decisions on its own in order to like see if that really matches based on its mandate. So on your second question, with the reputation, the feedback, and that type of thing, I haven't delved too deeply into like closing that loop, but I think being able to see what's in its portfolio publicly and then kind of match that up with like, okay, like you said you were going to do this, did you not do that? And then get a score that way.
Nice.
I actually have a question on the user side of things. So like you said, the equivalent token. So as like a user, what is it that I'm exactly holding? Like what token is it?
I'm foreseeing it as kind of like a vault shares type token. So more or less kind of like an ERC-20. And I think there's a lot of, I guess, excitement to be opportunity to like do different things with that. So if you have a fund of like an X size and it's all minted out, you could put that into DeFi. You can lend against it. You could trade it with people. You can LP it, and I think that would be really cool. And then, I'm sorry, to continue with it, like after the term, of when the agent's done trading or when the investment's considered done and it liquidates, that would be returnable for based on what's in the fund. So if you start with like a $1 to 1 share token, and the index has done really good, you would get double or whatever it's left. But if it does really bad, it's 1 to 1/2 or 1/4 or whatever.
Are you thinking you would LP the ETF token that is like the creator fund token almost?
Yeah, sort of. I think there's a lot of like connections and a lot of really cool things to do. What I'm also find exciting is like it's kind of ironic that like these ETFs give you more passive, like lower risk exposure, but you can end up like using these tokens to add risk and like leverage against it and go higher up that curve.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I also think this is really interesting as like a consumer product. I'm a Formula One fan. I think there's something around creating an F1 fan agent and having the ability to kind of use that as insights for prediction markets. So maybe this would kind of maybe let me go in and create that, right? I think there's like a big creator angle here. Like I could see a world where people come in and they kind of, people have made money off being YouTubers or influencers. They kind of set up their prediction market and they kind of use that to generate fees or capture fees for themselves. I could see that as quite an interesting angle or way to, not say kick off the go-to-market, but take this to the masses. But yeah, it's cool. We don't have any questions, which is good, because we've explained it very clearly. But yeah, look, dude, thanks so much for coming and sharing. It's great to see this progress. And yeah, let's see. Are you going to go into Argentina, right?
It's still up in the air.
Okay. Well, we might.
Yeah, anyway, guys, really appreciate the opportunity of having me on. Feel free to reach out, and I'd love to keep talking.
Thanks, Ben. Awesome. Yeah, and Avi, so last to present, but not least, of course, you guys are focused on mapping microbiomes. You're part of the Biome ecosystem, and you've been very active since the Bio Agent hackathon, I believe. I don't know if that's correct or not.
Yeah, BiomeAI launched on the Bioprotocol Launchpad, and it launched on around 23rd of September. So after that, we've been building. Like we've been going really fast with the UI and the backend. Basically, it uses ELISA OS as the backend, and currently we have two pathways when we interact with the agent. So one is without uploading your microbiome report, and one is with it. So so when the user is completely unaware about any sort of microbiome reports, they just start interacting with the agent, and the agent asks relevant questions, mapping it to their gut, like so that any response that the user sends to the agent correlates it with the gut microbiome and guides the user to make their lifestyle much better on the long term. So this is the basic interface, and I'll quickly show you how the interaction goes through. So this is the initial session. So I just introduce myself. I just greets you with welcome. You've taken your first step into a larger world. I'm Biome AI, your guide to the microverse within. And how should I call you? And then I provide my name, and then it starts. It's basically inspired from Morpheus from the Matrix. So it talks about the microbiome as a mysterious universe, and how to uncover the secrets inside the gut microbiome. And so it starts with a question like, what's one thing you'd like to know or improve in your relationship with your gut? So what I did is I immediately uploaded my microbiome report, and it scanned it and extracted the information, and asked me that have I taken any antibiotics, because antibiotics can be very much negative for your gut like microbiome. So like good bacteria gets destroyed when you have antibiotics. So I said no antibiotics, and then it started. It already has the information at this point, but it is still asking the questions to the user. So how's your energy right now? So I respond as good, and then it starts inquiring about the diet. So I said poha. That's like poha we call in India as so it's like flattened rice. So basically, I had it in the morning with milk and banana. So it responded very nicely. So how active were you yesterday, and how do you sleep? So I responded likewise, and then after all the questions, it gave a recommendation based on the microbiome report. So then I decided to end the conversation. So I was basically testing whether it responds correctly to goodbyes. So it responded correctly, and so anytime I can come back to this conversation, and it will remember the state. It is very stateful. So instead of having multiple conversations on the same, so like ChatGPT, instead we are aiming for a single stateful memory, so that every time the user comes back, and you can see I've logged in with my base wallet here. I can see my base balance and the BiomeAI token balance 11.72. So we have basically 4 tiers. So in these 4 tiers, what we have here is free, basic, premium, and VIP. So based on the token balance, we determine the BiomeAI responds accordingly. So the higher the balance, the better BiomeAI interacts with the user. So I prepared a list of how we can correlate with the 8004 protocol. So I'll show you. So this is the registry analysis that I made, by correlating the 4 tiers to the 3 registries that 8004 provides. So when we look into the identity registry, so it is a medium level, like we can say a high relevance. So currently we are using UIDs based on the wallet address, and then storing them in as a session, and then we are mapping that address to different tiers. But if we implement 8004, what we will have is we will have on-chain identity persisting for each wallet, and then cross-platform identity verification, and that works beyond the web app. And we will have an unified identity for multiple agents in the ecosystem, and the identity claims would be tamper-proof. And when we come to the reputation registry, this is the most relevant registry to BiomeAI tier system that I've concluded with. So currently we have 4 tiers. So once we have 8004 enhancement in place, it would radically improve this current tier system. So we would be able to dynamically adjust the tiers. So quality of interactions and survey completion. So we have a built-in survey here. So I can show you here. So here we have multiple options. So you can upload your report, export the chat at any point, and ask about the intent engine. So this start survey is a sub menu which you can begin at any point. So this survey would be very much improved when we implement the 8004 enhancement. So that is why this reputation registry is the most relevant and most important part of this 8004 integration. And so this is briefly, I've jotted down the points here. And lastly, but not the least, validation registry is also very important. Currently, we are using sign-in with Ethereum verification, but when we use 8004, it will greatly enhance that feature. So here we've summarized the 3 registries based on the importance and relevance. And this is the implementation path we are currently aiming for. So first, we integrate reputation scoring into the token retrieval function, token tier retrieval, and then add the reputation context to agent prompts, and then create reputation events for the survey completion quality. So basically, the users who participate in the surveys, we could assess their quality based on this reputation registry, and then conversation engagement depth. Then we have a meal planning plugin also based on the ELISA OS framework. So that would improve this plugin as well. And then also we would be able to understand the long-term commitments from the users based on the reputation. And then in the phase 2 identity registry, we would migrate the wallet-based UUID generation to use the 8004 registry, identity registry. And that would make it very much like much more identifiable to the community. So yeah, so because right now it is very much a standalone agent, but this would radically improve that. And then we also
I have a couple
have
of questions, if I can, on this. By the way, thank you for the presentation.
yeah.
The first is if you can explain a bit better the validation part. So what kind of validation mechanism? What are you validating, and who is validating that? And when it comes to the feedback, makes a ton of sense. I also wanted to ask here about the trust model. So who is giving the feedback? Is like the counterparts of a client, or organization, or like an AI on behalf of your, or controlled by you somehow? And if it's running in a
basically, actually the same user who is answering the survey or or interacting with the agent, after completing the interaction, they can rate the conversation, just like any other website, like out of 5. So, and based on this, we can build a reputation. So this would be very helpful for the agent. Yeah.
It's quite interesting. So like, I'm reading the reputation is almost like a reputation for gut health. So like the agent is measuring your gut health, right? And if you perform well, or if you follow the advice that the agent's giving you, your reputation is going to increase of that agent. If not, you're going to publicly be kind of shamed. I guess that's quite an interesting concept, as like just an experience for somebody to come in and, I guess, try and improve or change their behavior in general. I don't have specific questions around it. I think it's quite nuanced. I don't know if, Marco, you have ideas on how that might sit in a registry, or how that might play out in a social environment. But it's an interesting kind of perspective or way to approach it. Aisha, do you want to
also actually plan to please go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand this better, right? Like on the research side of it, like what does the curation look like? How do you select like what kind of studies go in here?
Basically, it has a knowledge base, so it maps to the questions to to a particular knowledge base, which is relevant to gut microbiome research, and then based on like it selects the most relevant part of its own knowledge base, and then responds back to the user. And we are actually also planning to integrate the Magnify API, which is a microbiome API, a free microbiome API, which has a biomes endpoint. And if we can, when we utilize this endpoint, I think it would very radically improve the validation framework that we are planning for.
Does this follow the same architecture as the Bio protocol?
No, it's basically an academic API built by researchers specifically for the microbiome. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll share the link in the chat.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, interesting. Is there any, I mean, future-facing question here as well? Like, is there a hardware element to this on the roadmap at all? Have you thought about giving people a device or something that they can actually use to track their own, I guess, health or gut health?
Yeah, basically, so it has a persistent memory. So today we are, it has built-in surveys, daily surveys. So when we talk to the agent on a daily basis, it creates a memory of the health of the user on a regular basis. So gradually, when the user is on the, for example, on the 30th day after a month, I think their lifestyle is going to be very much impacted by the role, by how BiomeAI is advising them to improve their lifestyle. So it is a way to track your own gut health and improve your lifestyle. So basically, I can give you an example. So I personally use the agent for keeping track of my sleep, of my circadian rhythm. So basically, initially, when I started working on this project, I was very much a late riser. But after working on this and interacting with the agent, it made me sleep early. And right now, I wake up early. Yeah.
I think, like, to Keng's question, right? It's like, for example, how like a Whoop works. It's a combination of, like, just tracking like everything, like half of your lifestyle in an automated way, and the other half is when you provide the reports. It gives you like this 360 view. So in terms of like the hardware integration, like at any point would it tie into like Apple Health or anything like that at this point?
Yeah, and it also has a nudge feature, nudge system that is also like built in using Eliza OS. So using this nudge feature, you can ask it to remind you about like checking on you about your health, how you're doing. So that is also a very helpful feature. I think I can show you right now. Maybe, yeah, nudge me in say 2 seconds. So it would. So this is basically a test. Yeah, so basically this is how we are actually planning to integrate a notification system. So it's currently the browser's permissions are not given. So it's going to give you a notification on the top right corner. So currently the permissions are not there, so it's not showing, but that is how we are planning to integrate this feature. And also the feature is built in to check on the user every 8 hours, 16 hours, and 24 hours. So it always tries to keep track of the user, how the user is doing.
Guys, I just wanted to say thanks and bye. I need to leave.
Yeah, conscious from the hour.
You all, and
for joining.
To see this implemented. Have a good one.
Let's call that the session end as well. Marco, thank you for coming. But yeah, Avi, thank you so much for presenting. That was great. I think yeah, we've not connected before. I'm connected with Robin, but I'm just thinking about like decentralized data layers that could sit underneath this, which connects different devices, for example. There's a team called Beacon Protocol, which I don't know if you heard of. That might be quite interesting for this. But yeah, I know you've been building, like, it's a fairly newish project. You might have been cooking this for a while, but yeah, it's great to learn more and good to dive in. And if there's somewhere for somebody to go that's following, if there's somebody, for people listening in, where should they go to kind of get hands-on? Is it BiomeAI? Is that the website name?
Yeah, currently we have 2 versions. So one is biomeai.microbiomeDAO.com, so now called Biome, That is the research version. That is the research version of the agent, and the personalized version of the agent is BiomeAI2.microbiomeDAO.com.
Okay, awesome. You should throw that into our community or onto the tweet or something. But yeah, look, Avi, again, once again, thank you so much for sharing everything. To those listening, thanks for the questions and for joining us. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ben, again.